You got the boys with the toys in the basement making noise? Elizabeth, Mercy, bring them brownie. We are currently on our way to base of Mount Wachusett and to visit the grave of Martha in the legendary story of Lucy Keys. Lucy Keys was a young girl. This, as the story goes, she was following her it was just way back in the colonial days, back when there was like very little anything. It was like literally the woods in a house and a quarter mile and another house, small house, like one room house stuff. His mother had sent the two older sisters to go fetch some water, and what they didn't realize is that Lucy Keys followed them, and it wasn't until dinner time or when they returned that they realized that Lucy Keys wasn't with them and went missing. It was like it was a huge to-do. Again, an event like that in a small town sends ripples through the whole community. There were search parties, and the Keys were a well-to-do family, and essentially over the years they searched and they actually spent much of their family fortune trying to keep the search going. Now, as the story goes, there was a disgruntled neighbor, yes, Little John, who on his deathbed admitted to killing the little girl. There was a lot of family feud between the two. The truth value of it, what it is, it was a legit confessional letter on the guy's deathbed. He explains further how he was part of the search party and kept people away from where the little girl was. He actually had her body hidden in a hollow log on his property. It's a long-suited, weird story. It's wonderful, just Google it. The long story short is the mother was known to have gone crazy, and she was called to Lucy constantly, and the ghost of Martha, the mother, is the one that supposedly haunts the foothills of Wachusett Mountain area. We are going to actually go visit the graves of Martha Keys and her husband, and the marker. There is a grave marker for Lucy. This is how you know you're in the Wachusett Mountain area. Snaking roads and swamps periodically on each side. It wouldn't be a New England ghost hunting trip if we didn't stop at the classic New England Dunks, get ourselves a pumpkin coffee. Hey, there's nothing more New England than a pumpkin iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Let's see if I can do it on research. As I was getting my coffee, Ken was doing some fact checking. The confessional letter of Little John is in Cornell University.
Yeah.
I'm of the people who, I'm not sure about that. There's the validity to that is the fact, why would he admit it if it wasn't true? But then again, he wasn't going to get convicted because he was dying. But what gives that validity is the fact that there was land disputes between the two families, and in doing so, when the Keys family had to sell off a lot of their property, Little John obtained it. The other theory about what happened to Lucy Keys was that she was kidnapped by one of the local Native American tribes.
Yeah, Algonquin.
Algonquin, yeah. I'm not trying to be politically correct here. I guess Native American people of the Algonquin tribe. There's actually some interesting theory behind this about a young lady of the fair skin of the bright age was found, it was in Canada, I believe. It's a tribe who spoke of memories, vivid memories of growing up in what she referred to as Wachusett Hill. Yeah. That's like the happy, romantic kind of scenario, and it's actually almost more the believable one, as opposed to the dark version of she was killed over the property disputes and the hidden body, he was hidden and all that. There's a book written on the subject matter, and Ken's sending me a PDF file of it. I read excerpts of it before. It's actually a fascinating story. I actually grew up with the whole story of hearing in the Wachusett Mountains, you know, the voice going, Lucy, you swear you hear the woman is calling out, and the little kid's footsteps in the snow, even though it happened in April.
This is just a scanned PDF copy of a book called Lucy Keys, The Lost Child of Wachusett Mountain.
That is great reference material source for this particular subject matter. But right now we're focusing on, we're going to go to the townhouse marker, which is right outside the grave site of Lucy Keys. I vaguely remember where her marker is. This one I believe is more clearly marked. We are tooling through Westminster. It's very local to us, but to those of you who may not realize it, if you look to the right here, a little bit of tourist attraction, this is the Westminster Cracker Factory. Now what's interesting about that is the original origin place of what you all may know as the oyster crackers. They were originally developed there in that little building, a little cracker factory building. Now I believe it's company storage, but the exterior of the building is kept in the proper original form. It's a little bit of a historical site. So anytime you've enjoyed those little oyster crackers in your clam chowder or in your tomato soup, as you see up here in New England, that's why you get them.
Wrappers. So there are some wrappers out there that have a picture of that building on it.
Yes, yes.
I'd like to get a couple of those wrappers.
This is the lights that takes us to Concord, Boston, or Princeton. When you are heading to go to the Princeton area, you come upon a stretch of road, it's like this. This is really interesting because it goes from the small town to 50 miles an hour with no hesitation. And in the woods up ahead on the right, there is another public historical site. It is
Redemption Rock.
At the time, this is all flatter land, and this rock is freaking huge. And it was actually known for being a meeting spot because everybody knew where it was.
King Philip was an Indian who really wasn't a king, they just called him that.
Right, because
the mayor's, at the time, daughter was kidnapped as part of the battle that was going back and forth.
Again, on the Mohawk Trail, there's some crazy in the story like
negotiations were set and the daughter was returned at Redemption Rock.
Yeah, you can't really see off the road, but you could if the trees weren't there. And that's up ahead here, the Redemption Rock.
Turn right.
There we go. This is beautiful. This is known as Wachusett Mountain, Wachusett Hill. It's for the skiers, it's a popular location because it's apparently it's a really good skiing resort that's very local. And I remember years ago as a kid hanging out with Ken and his older friends and us, and then hearing the stories of Lucy Keys and Lucy. And you can't tell a kid like me that because I'll remember it freaking ever. It's definitely winding path roads. We are at the foothills of Wachusett. Yes, we were kids and we would sneak up here at night, and on the hill right there, up on the hill, sneaking out late at night, hanging out with the guys. We were told the tales up there. That was implanted in his brain. And I'm like, wow, when I went back and they didn't have the internet, we had to go to the library and to research this crap. Which meant if you did that like I did, you were probably the only person in 1,000 people who knew what the hell you were talking about when you brought it up. But people like me kept it alive. Oh, and Ken too. I don't know if it was you, I don't know who told me that story. You told me the story about the kids in the Gravity Hill, but
In a quarter mile, your destination will be on the right.
There's loads of folklore. I don't know who told what. It's all over.
yeah.
Your destination is on the right.
Is it? No, it's not. Oh my god, we finally get the car stopped. There's freaking no signal.
Okay.
There's no, there's no signal in that building. It's a visitor center. There's just no parking. Yeah, for some reason, this little camera is giving me a lot of trouble. It's not holding a charge, or it's not being charged.
Head south.
That's the famous quote of the day here. Let's go 2 miles down this road and see what happens. That's like a funny name for a horror movie. Let's go 2 miles down this road and see what happens. No, that's like the chapter point.
That's a chapter point
of a horror film.
2 miles later,
everything just goes black. Here's the meeting house sign.
we are here at the site of Lucy Keys' mother, Martha.
She's believed to have gone crazy. Her spirit is still roaming the foothills of Wachusett Mountain, looking for her daughter, Lucy. As the story goes, is you can often hear in the woods at night when things are still and quiet, you can hear the voice calling out to Lucy. It's definitely one of those classic ghost stories. Again, I heard it as a kid. To find out there is a lot of fact to it, a lot of interesting facts. It's kind of a sad story. I had a point and I forgot. This is so solemn here. I'm gonna go take a look at that marker.